Chris here, Brian, I don't see,
No, he's already
Kate's
started.
here, Stacy's here. Alright. Alright, it's a minute after, or a minute or two after 7. I was not gonna try to do the minutes, which we haven't seen yet from our last meeting. But I did say that I would let Chris start it off with the school's issues at this point in our schedule. If you haven't gotten it, there's a sheet there that has how we got where we are with if anybody wants something to keep score, so to speak. All right, Chris, it's your stage. I said I'd give you the floor first.
Well, no matter what, the town wins, the school district wins, because we're all working together on this, so. All right, so thank you, first of all, for letting me say something. As school board rep, and I wrote it down so I would not ramble. As school board rep, I wanted to share some thoughts, especially for newer members. I know this is a confusing process. This is not the totality of what we need to go through. Dick can do that as well. But I did want to share some of the things that I thought might help frame the discussion. First thing, that this is a bottom line budget. The budget committee can recommend where they would like to see any changes to the lines. Voters will have their own say in school district meeting. Ultimately, hopefully the school board is responsive to what those things are, but ultimately the school board also needs to decide how the money will be spent. The second thing I wanted to say is that the school district cannot spend what's not appropriated. Unlike the town, we don't have an unrestricted reserve fund. Not that the town wants to spend money that's not appropriated either, but we don't have a reserve fund that is unrestricted to tap into.
We don't either, but there is reserve funds there.
There are reserve funds, yeah. We don't have that except for high school trust, special ed, things like that. So if it happens that there's something unexpected, like this year's healthcare assessment, which was $133,000, with a bare bones budget, we have no recourse but to cut programs, people, or look at other ways, pulling out of the trust more than we feel comfortable, those kinds of things. And I want to also address last year's budget. We are building off of a bare bones budget last year because the only increase outside of the bonds that were passed and paying for those bonds was about a 1% increase. So we didn't hit CPI last year, except when you add in the bonds. Now I understand that the bonds are totally a part of that, but I just want to point that out. The operating budget itself, outside of the bonds, didn't increase more than 1%. And the final thing I wanted, and Dick has already nicely laid this out, what has happened, how we got here. You asked us to reduce or provide reduction scenarios. We provided a 5, 4, and 3, and then the board coalesced with 8, 8, that when we actually calculated all the numbers came up to a 4.83 budget. And it's in quotes approved by the school board. It was an actual vote. We 6-0 approved that budget. We have the scenarios for what a 3 and a 4% budget might look like, so I want to just point that out to you. Hopefully that's helpful in thinking about what this board, what this committee might recommend. I also want to note that I am representing the school board. The school board has already voted 6-0 for this budget. Unless it's a nominal reduction in whatever the school board has already voted for, I will be voting no on any reduction to the budget. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
And I would just say one thing. There's this sheet here is the lines on the MS 27, which gives us, that's what goes before the voters really to vote on, rather than the very detailed spreadsheet. And I don't think we want to even delve into how many pads of paper they buy for the art department. So I would like to, in any discussion we have, don't go below the level of what's on this sheet with the MS 27. because that's what we have to publish in the town report to take to the school district meeting. The other thing I wanna mention is there are a couple of things where one line went down considerably and another line went up, and that was a transfer of the responsibility of paying for something. So, what I'd like to do is start going around the room with a sense of where each person sits in terms of either potential cuts, or we can't cut anything additional, or where we might wanna look for a potential cut. Because I know there's a feeling among a number of people that at some point in time, we have to get tighter control of the school budget, because it just can't go on forever increasing it 1.5 times to 2 times the rate of inflation. And whether this is the time we do it or not, I don't know, and I'm not gonna speak to it. And there's always the fear that it will be, any cuts we try to impose will be put back in the budget at town meeting. But I don't think we should worry about that. We should do our honest best as to what cuts may be feasible. And it's just like Social Security, every time it comes to cut something, it's very hard. So,
I had a point of order, 2 questions. First is, what is the point of this meeting? So we come, we talk, and we pick out and
we
should,
have to come up with a number
okay,
to
that's,
fill out the MS, what is it, 27?
27, yeah.
Yeah.
right. So it is our obligation to come up with a number.
Yeah,
What happens to that number? So the school budget,
that's what was presented as the initial motion at the school district meeting. It's the budget committee's budget, not the school district.
so let me see if I understand. So the warrant comes out at 9.8, whatever it says, the number that we agreed to. And then the school board, and then the budget committee makes a motion to amend it to.
No.
Oh, okay, so I'm
We
glad I asked.
start with our budget.
Our budget is the one printed in the town report.
Ah,
That
Alright.
gets,
Yeah, it's put in the warrant?
it gets put in the warrant.
right.
We.
Janet, do you wanna speak to that?
Yeah, Janet.
Yeah,
And Bill is here.
actually, it's my understanding that the school board's Article 2 remains as written. And it would have your voting results on the bottom, whether you say yes or no.
Mhm.
On the MS 27 is where your number is gonna come in, and it's gonna fall under the the last column on the MS 27. Does anybody have their MS 27?
We did get it in our packet.
Yeah.
So on the MS 27, it shows the appropriations that are voted and recommended by the school board, that is column 3. And column 6 is budget committee's appropriations, either recommended or not recommended, are columns 5 and 6.
Jenna, what page are you on?
At page 1 of the MS, it's
It's
right,
actually page 2 of 10, if you have the draft.
yeah,
Can I ask a question while they're all looking?
yeah,
Did you ask Jamie at DRA about that? Because
yeah.
I thought, when you put the vote in, you put, the school board recommends, whatever, and that's the amount that's in the warrant. And then when you put in the budget committee's vote to not recommend, but you put in the amount that they actually voted
So that she
in
did,
the article.
so she did not tell me that.
I
She
think we
just,
better check.
That's what we've had to do with the town, if
Right,
there's a
I think you
disagreement.
have.
okay,
do that.
and that's fine, because I can answer
And the
that
budget
question when I do
committee's
that.
number is the one you start from
Yes.
at the meeting, not the school
It's the
district's
amount that's
number.
moved.
So that's, yeah, I don't
But
have that
this-
information
See, it's a
either.
different kind of budget
Never
committee.
happened.
It's,
I believe,
Municipal budget committee, so you have to look at that specific RSA.
Well, no, it has happened, it happened in 2012. I looked it up.
No.
Has anybody gotten a legal opinion about
We
how
did
this is
call-
actually supposed to go?
we did call the lawyer, we talked to the lawyer. And really what happened was when I went to put in the budget committee's recommended number in the MS 27, which was 0, it rejected it, and I contacted the DRA, and the DRA said that the budget committee absolutely had to vote a number, And if they weren't
Right.
gonna recommend, and, cause I said your intent was just to have your voting results on the article, and she said that that was not appropriate and you had to come up with a number, and if not, call a lawyer. So we did.
So we did.
Yes, and that they just basically said that the budget committee needed to convene again and come up with a number.
And does that number come first as it's presented to the town in the warrant?
So the
That's
way,
my understanding.
We make the initial move at district meeting or town meeting would be the budget committee's number.
That's
So
what I
Then
understand.
somebody can amend it to the school district's number.
so
That's-
can I just
okay.
ask a question, because I have not been through this process when it's denied?
Yep.
So that's a complete change of that warrant article. So what you're telling me is the warrant article.
No, the warrant article would just change the number. It said the school board recommends 9.8 million, we'll say. And the budget by a vote of 6-0. The budget committee recommends 9.7 million by a vote of X.
Yeah, but the article itself is gonna have,
And that's in the article says that, just like now,
Okay.
the article has a certain number in it, you put the budget committee's number in it.
We can address that tomorrow.
Yeah.
okay,
What we have to do
And then
tonight
the
is we have to agree on what the number is that the budget committee is going to recommend.
Right.
Because the statute for the Municipal Budget Act actually says the budget committee is supposed to come up with a budget.
Right, and it's the budget committee's budget that gets presented
Right.
at town meeting and at school district meeting.
And process for that, say we come up for a number, are we going around for another vote as well?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we gotta have a number for a vote
Do
on
we
it.
have to come to consensus on that number?
Ask if
So at some point in time, we have to
It has to be
get
a
5
majority.
votes or whatever a majority is for some
Just
number.
process, thank you.
How many we got here today?
9.
2, 3, 4, we got 9, so it's
Yeah.
5-4 again. Unless somebody votes abstain, and then I get to vote, I
Another
guess.
point of order. You've referred to the MS-27. Are we going to vote tonight on a single number, the bottom line, or are we obligated to go through the MS-27 line by line and modify those numbers?
I think we have to identify where our proposed cuts would come from, but just by the MS-27 number. Now, we could put them all in one thing. We could say, we wanna cut 1.7 million and put it all in, regular instruction line, and then rely on the school board to adjust things. But we have to show on one of the accounting lines on the MS-27 what our cuts are. If we're cutting that line, to come up with what our total budget would be. That's my understanding of it.
So we need both a global number and line items.
Yeah, but we don't need to vote on the Y. I was hoping we could get the Ys as a consensus and then vote on the total. And then if the total doesn't carry, then we go back to the sublines. Judy?
Well, this is probably a monkey wrench, but I wonder if we could have kind of around the table and just see if over this last few days, people who voted against the budget that the school board gave us, have had a change of heart.
One of those people is not here.
That's true.
Oh, that's the way it goes.
But we could poll who's here and see, because we could spend a lot of time talking about a number.
No,
if-
wait a minute, there's 8,
There's 8.
because I make 9.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
So you're gonna force me to vote tonight.
You're voting.
Only if there's a tie.
Judy,
If there's a tie.
you could make a motion.
All right, you could start out with Judy making a motion for.
Judy will make a motion that we re-poll the budget committee members to confirm the current thinking of the presented school board budget.
All right, this is the 9857431.
Can you, you're starting to mark it, sorry, go ahead.
So a yes would be, you vote yes to approve the school
Yes,
board's budget.
All
A
right.
no would be
Judy?
a duplicate of the last one.
Do I
yes.
have a second for a motion of 9857? Bill? All right. we've got a formal motion, so therefore I will take a roll call vote on that formal motion. And I will do it as we've done before, which is alphabetically.
So what's the motion exactly?
The motion is to recommend 9857431, which was the school district's budget.
Are we hearing from everybody or only the people that voted no?
I think-
Everyone here gets a vote.
Yes, everyone will be there.
If you're not here, you don't get a vote,
Okay.
all right? Vince isn't here. Jen,
No.
Judy,
Yes.
Rich,
No.
Phil,
No.
Bill,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Ryan isn't here.
Right.
Kate,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
it's 4-4, I gotta vote?
Yep,
No.
5. Okay,
Brian and Vince were here, we'd have 7. Just to make the point.
No, you
didn't
have
hear
6
you,
because
Joe.
Dick would not have voted.
Well, but we know how he votes.
All right. Now, the next item then is how much to cut where?
I have a point of order there.
Yeah,
I'd like to start from the other end of the telescope.
Me too.
Let's agree on the gross number and then work backwards.
all right. What would you like to propose for a gross number then?
I would go with the regional CPI.
Which is 2.9, isn't it?
Well, in December, it was 3.3, and that's, at the end of December, it was 3.3, so that would be the
yeah.
number, and I have the arithmetic if you'd like.
oh, good.
Could you give us the number, please?
I would recommend a budget of $9,732,222.99.
223 then.
Well, all right, but that, it comes out to a nice round number, which is, it's a reduction of $310,000. And it represents a 3.3 increase over the prior year.
So it's $9,732,223.
223.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I assume,
And that's-
Bill, you're making that motion.
Yes, if
I'll second that.
acceptable.
All right, we're ready for another roll call.
And then we had Phil.
All right, Jen,
To vote on the 3.3% increase?
the 9/7 budget,
Okay,
yes or no?
yes.
Let's be consistent here. Judy,
I'm gonna hold off right now, I'm thinking. I'm not ready to vote.
Rich,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Chris,
No.
Brian isn't here. Kate,
No.
Stacy,
No.
Judy,
I'll vote no.
I'll vote again, and I'll vote no on this one.
The nose.
Somewhere in between.
So it's,
It's kind of a running tally of what the votes were inside over here.
five no's and 4 yeses, right?
Yes.
All right. Next question. Would people be amenative, and I'm not gonna call it for a vote. Can we get a majority for something halfway between these two numbers?
I mean, I think that 3.3% carries sort of the justification with it that's based in data and reality. So I don't know why we would go in between with some arbitrary number, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, and also I would say that fundamentally, for me, it's not really the bottom line number. My complaint is with an administration that refuses to like even talk about the trajectory of this budget or make any statement about future planning. And that for 10 years that I've been sitting on this budget committee, I've watched the school just shrug their shoulders and go, there's nothing we can do about it. And then basically virtue signal education, you know, and label people basically who don't support the budget as people who don't support education. And I think it's not fair. And I think that there are some serious issues with how the budget is put together and how the future trajectory of this budget is not looked at in a fair, data-driven manner. That's my problem with this budget.
Stacy?
Yeah, I just wanna make a statement, and I wrote mine down too, because I had a lot to say. And I think it addresses some of the points that Jen's making too. I'll skip the overview of the past, because I think we have that in a number of documents, but, so ultimately, the school came to us with a budget of 4.83 increase, and this was discussed as the lowest the school could accommodate without losing a position, a special education position in particular. The school shared with us that anything below that would negatively impact the students and the efficiency of the school, and I trust them fully as the experts in their lane. Appropriately or not, I will tell you that as a parent of a child receiving these special education services, that not only the academic success of my child would have suffered without those positions, but their mental health would have been deeply impacted as well. And every single adult in that school, administrative, student-facing, they've all had a meaningful impact on my child's well-being. So last week, we as a committee did not recommend the 4.83% increase. But I would like to point out that we keep bringing up CPI, and the town budget has a 5.06% increase. And I will be clear, I fully support the town budget. I also acknowledge that it's a third of the size of the school budget. Those are both very relevant things. However, I do believe if we're gonna continue talking about CPI, we should bring that budget into this conversation as well, because I do not think it's relevant to put that standard to one budget versus another. And I don't think we should be competing with budgets against each other. You know, I do understand, and you made this point too, Dick, that some of our good intention here is to try to get to a place where we're proposing a budget that we all feel comfortable with, that will not raise another vote on the floor. I think we still do have the opportunity to do that. And, you know, I will say that as I look back at our January 7th meeting, and I actually did go into the recording, so it was very helpful today to have that, to actually go through everybody's comments. We were asked to go around the room and talk about a 5% increase. Not even the 4.83 that ended up coming to us, but 5% of what the questions are and comments we had in relation to that budget. And while there were a few comments about lowering the percentage, the great majority of the conversation that we had was focused around the bigger problem we have with the yearly cycle, and that we end up in this place every year, that we have rising budgets, rising taxes. And this is a much larger community discussion that has to be dealt with the appropriate town entities, with community input. I know there was, you know, someone mentioned even a municipal strategic planning committee. I would be the first to volunteer to help with any of that in this time following town meetings and in between when we meet again. But I do feel like cutting essential funding for the school does not solve what is a longstanding problem.
Judy?
I too am concerned, living on Social Security. I know it's very difficult. Some people don't even have that. I think the taxes are the elephant in the room. But I think we have, and I share Jen's concern of what we've seen in past years. This is a new administration. This is a new formed board with a new leader. I think that we're seeing a great effort. I know in past years, and many of the years I've sat on this committee, that we might get one or two agreements to drop something or lower it or whatever, but basically it was always, it is what we have. This board brought in 2 different budgets and did all the work we asked to show us 543. And I think that that's indicative of what we're gonna see going forward. I think we should approve something, if not the one they brought us, then very close to it, but I think that we all need to recognize that going forward, everyone needs to step in and along the early stages, look at what is needed and what we're going to support and what we're not, so that we don't end up with an emergency meeting to try and pick a number out of the air. And also, just because I have to say this, the town's budget yearly for many, many years has been under the CPI or right at the CPI, and there have been things that we have said going along that we need, that we're not getting. There will have to be a catch-up, and this was the catch-up year. So, and I agree, it's not fair, but it's where we landed this year, and pretty soon if we don't have the trucks to plow the road, that's gonna be bad. It's like not having the paraeducator. So I would just plea that I think we need to vote to go forward with what it sounded like we were initially agreeing to, but really make sure everyone knows and have this discussion at the school district meeting, and maybe we can have a little of it at the town meeting, so that everybody hears what's going on and they know these things don't just by miracle get passed. You know, somebody brought this in, everybody said, fine, let's go home. The Super Bowl's on, let's go watch it. So anyway, that's all.
That wasn't worth watching.
Thank you, Dick.
Yeah.
Except for the Giants gave up 2 of the best players on Seattle.
Do you have to go in order, or can I?
We're not going around in order, we're going, who wants to talk?
Whoever wants to talk. So I've kept my vote as a yes for the budget that they presented to us, because I also feel like they presented us with 6.8, and they did a really nice job explaining what went into that, why it was such an increase. And then we did ask them to present these different scenarios. They did that very clearly, and they've outlined in there what those increases were. And the one that really stands out to me is the healthcare premium increase. And we kinda can't, in my mind, I feel like we're not in a vacuum. We're in this larger world where things like that are happening, and the school doesn't have control over what the healthcare premiums are for their teachers. And it sounds like we got kinda lucky that it wasn't even higher, because other towns had a lot more. So I feel like, same thing, I remember hearing them say, if we go lower than this 4.8, it's gonna be a special education teacher that will end up getting cut. As I've heard, we just give a number, then they have to make the hard decisions at the school of what to cut. And I also feel like this town has tried to have less administration. I've heard people make that argument, that we have a superintendent, a principal, and the curriculum director. The town has tried to consolidate that, and it didn't work very well. So here we are in this new situation where we have the supports for the school. We have a strong school, it's a really strong foundation in our community, and I wanna support that. And I also feel like they're the ones who know the budget, their budget, and where they can cut it and what they can do with it, and they've tried to do that. And so I'm gonna trust that. And I feel like it's a really important part of our community. So that's where I'm at.
Well, let me respond, because I've been one of the ones who's been focused on cutting, and I'm gonna continue to say why. I continue to believe that $1.1 million in administrative costs are astronomical, lavish, and unnecessary. I've administered a lot of things, and I spent a lot of money. I was head of a state agency. I've made budgets for 40 years. There are always difficult cuts to make. If the school board decides that what they're going to cut is a child-facing worker, that's their decision. They could easily cut what I have been talking about for several weeks, the academic director, or make that position half-time, or cut some of the lunch program. They don't have to cut a special educator. My grandson was in special ed for his entire childhood, including $100,000 a year at an out-of-state school. I have a tremendous amount of respect for special education. I don't think that's where the cut needs to be. I think the cut can be in administration. Second of all, if steak goes up in price, I eat more hamburger. I don't say I have to have steak. I think that this is, the healthcare expenses went up. Okay, what can we do to conserve to deal with that healthcare expenses going up? And the third thing that I've been saying, and I've been saying it for weeks, if $1.1 million in administration is required, what is the creative option for not having that? A year ago, Jen brought up at the school meeting, I brought up at the school meeting, why don't we look at shared costs? Why don't we look at a shared administrative cost? Why don't we do what Plainfield did? Why don't we do what both of the towns, north and south of us, have interstate school districts? Why are we not looking at something like that? Does Lyme have to go, are we so rich that we have to go with a loan and spend $1.1 million in administration? I don't think the person on Social Security thinks so. So I'll take an unpopular stand and say, I don't think this increase is fair. We asked the school to come back with a 3%, 4%, and 5% budget, which they very reasonably did. My preference would be to give them the same 3% that every other town department has gotten, essentially, and say, figure out how to live with it. That's what I ask.
Before I put in my 2 cents, anybody else? All right, when I looked at this, the one item that gave me problems was subsidizing people's lunch, because we're not a WIC type person, and $100,000 subsidy of lunch, to me, is a real issue. And I think that's something that can be cut and make the people eating pay for it. I used to, when I worked, I always had to pay the full price of my meals.
Can I offer something about that lunch cost?
What are
So-
you, sorry,
I was
Yeah.
talking about,
Just looking about, transfer to food
I was
service
hoping Dick could finish his
5221.
comment.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
let Dick finish his comments.
That was the area that caused me the most grief. The administration, when you add the school and the SAU together, it's basically flat, for lack of a better way to look at it. Because my first time through, I looked at that. And the other area that I looked at was the library. And I felt that that kind of increase in the library, and that resulted from splitting the cost of the technology person between library and technology. But I think that's too much money in the library line. So really, the 2 lines that I feel we could cut some are the library and the food subsidy. That's my 2 cents.
did you have a number for those, or just in general, those 2 lines?
Well, I would take that, basically, right now you got $174,250 going into for lunch subsidy, and I'd move that to 100.
So lower, 200, not.
Lower the 174,250
Got
to 100K. And I take that library figure of 181,870, and I take 30,000 out of it. So that it would, I'd make it 150. Now,
Oh, he's on.
there's two logics behind that. One is, they're not direct teaching, et cetera, of students.
Dick, will you repeat the library
The
figure?
library one, what did you say?
150 instead of 181.
150,000.
So 150, so you're taking 31,871.
Yeah.
Now, I picked those two because they're not direct teaching of a kid. Number two is, I know there's an issue with splitting the FTE between library and tech, but we've got to identify something, I think. The other thing is, I think if we go in an axe to try to get to the 3%, it's just gonna be put back on the floor of the district meeting, and we're wasting everybody's time. I mean, I think we've got zero chance of that being approved. So I take 250 off the 9585 in terms of the total budget.
9857,
Well,
9857 minus 250.
yeah,
But how do you get to
Go
250
ahead.
with your
That's the correct
reductions?
arithmetic.
I
It's
get,
actually 131.
oh, I'm sorry, it's 31,000 and
870.
74,000 for the reductions.
It's $105,000 down. 74 and 31.
That's about a 1%.
You're taking 100,000 off the 174, yes, 74,250.
No, he's taking 74 off the
74 off,
174.
okay.
He's
All
bringing it down
right,
to
transfer to
100,000.
food service, I'm cutting, you know, where's my edit number?
74,250 is what you're proposing to cut.
Well,
Oh,
this is the trouble with the goddamn thing is, it doesn't have Excel on it.
I thought
No,
it
it
was,
doesn't. Now, you can print, you can change it.
Well,
did you want to subtract 100,000 from that lunch figure, or
All right.
make it 100,000?
I wanna subtract 100,000 from lunch.
Okay, that's,
Okay.
I mean, or make it
make
100,000.
it
So
100,000.
Make it 100K
So now you want
instead of
to
174, so I'm subtracting 74,250.
Yes, and it's 100,000 now.
Yeah, and I'm making the library, instead of 181, I'm making it 150, so I'm taking out 31,870. So my total reduction is,
$105,020 essentially.
I got 106,000 in my edition.
You do.
106 to what?
106, 250, is that what?
106, 120.
Thank you. I'm writing it down.
The correct figure is
And that's
106.
the total amount you're taking.
That's what he's taking out.
It's,
About 1%.
it's about 0.5%, isn't it? No, 1%,
It's
yeah,
over.
Probably.
yeah, about 3.5.
That final figure you came up with, Dick, is 106,
106, 120.
120.
Yeah, for the reduction. Chris?
Well, I know other people had comments, but when they're done, I have a comment. I
Right.
don't wanna lose.
All right, that's my proposal, to put something out that's somewhere in between.
Is that a motion?
Well, let's have comments on it before it's a formal motion.
Well, we need a motion to have comments. so-
All right, do I hear a motion?
I'll
I
move
wanna
it.
ask questions,
Phil.
can we ask questions?
Yeah,
first?
after we
After
make the
they
motion.
make a
Oh,
motion
okay.
and second.
Second?
then-
Great.
I'll second it.
I'm sorry, who moved it?
I moved
Phil.
it.
Phil,
Thank you.
Bill and Bill.
So, were there comments directly to the motion, or can I give context to the lunch program and the library that might help?
That's what I was looking for.
Is that,
I was looking.
Well, now it's time to discuss what
okay.
motion is on the floor.
Okay, so if, really quickly, I just wanna remind people, my first year on the board, so that would be 2 years ago, the lunch program changed from fresh picks, the,
Contracted service.
contracted services, I was gonna say the heated up in the microwave fish sticks, but, that conceptually, to a chef, which returned it to a former program. That is the increase in cost there. The town voted on that as part of the overall operating budget. It was not a separate warrant article, but it was highlighted in the presentation that we made to the district meeting. Second thing I want to say is that the library is a direct student-facing role. It is a certified educator, so it does have direct student contact. In fact, I think the only people who don't really have direct student contact are the two people sitting right there, at least of the teachers, educational aides, and other staff.
Well, we can argue about teachers' aides in classrooms forever.
Right, but I just wanted to
I didn't
put that
want
context
to
in.
get into that argument.
Jen may have had something she wanted to say.
All right, next is Jen, I guess,
I just wanted to ask, I feel like when you presented the budget increase, there was something about the food budget going over what was expected somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to
I
that,
can't
Janet can
remember
jump in
exactly
too,
the
but
details of that.
from what, and part of it, when this was developed, the timing is challenging, right? Because you're deciding in the fall, oftentimes putting numbers together for the upcoming school year. When this program was developed, folks on the board weren't sure, is it gonna, what are the revenues gonna be? What are the expenses going to be? So there were some estimates that were made, and the estimates were off. And so this particular budget, now that we have some detail and some history in terms of what the costs are, we know what the actual number is. So this budget fixes that so that it reflects what the actual costs are.
Thank you, thanks for explaining that, yeah.
I have a comment about the food, and I can't remember which school board meeting it was. It may have been the 13th of January. It was before, I think, the second budget committee meeting we had with the school, so it's probably, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what came to the table at that meeting, which I didn't attend, but I was on Zoom for, the superintendent stated that at the beginning of the year, the woman who runs the food service was not given a budget. So she was never actually given, like the school may have and the board may have actually budgeted for something, but whatever that dollar value wasn't communicated to the woman who actually orders the food. Which was surprising. I think there was one board member, Fielding, I think, who said something to the effect of, well, that doesn't really make any sense, like why would, you know, I think it's disingenuous, I guess, minimally, to talk about that line as being overspent, because I don't think that the expectation was set for the person in the school who actually runs the department. That's the kind of, like, budgetary mismanagement that I'm sort of, that I wanna like highlight and talk about more.
Well, the thing I'm doing is, I'm doing it philosophically, that we are subsidizing lunch with tax dollars with this line. And therefore, it's irrelevant to my looking at that line, how we got there or what the number is. It's just that to subsidize people's lunch, when we're not talking about the underprivileged kids where you get federal money to subsidize their lunch, because I'm not sure we have any in Lyme that qualify for that federal program.
Very few.
Yes, we do.
We do have some,
We do have some, yes.
but it's very small compared to other places. That's what I'm objecting to, is subsidizing lunch at the cost of teaching kids, as far as I'm concerned.
Dick, I'll make a point that Vince would have made, which is that year after year after year, the school budget goes up somewhere close to double the rate of inflation. And the answer is always, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. Everything we have in this building is terrific. It's what we need to have. No cuts can be made. And it's unsustainable for people on a fixed income. We can't keep growing this budget at double the rate of inflation. We're driving people out of town. Now, maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't want rich people to live here. But we are driving people out of town by unsustainable increases in the school budget. And also, by the way, by lack of growth of housing and lack of growth of businesses to increase the tax base, which is a whole other thing. But we can't keep going up at greater than the rate of inflation every single year and saying, waving our hands and saying there's nothing we can do about it.
How's other people's? 311.
Well, I think we have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, I wanna check the number here.
Okay.
I did the math, do you want it?
What number did you come up with?
A budget of $9,751,311.
That is what I came up
That's
with.
what I got too.
I don't have a percentage, I just have.
Yeah, I don't have a percentage either.
So 9,751,311. Okay.
I'm gonna cheat off your paper.
All right, are we ready to vote on a budget of $9,751,311?
As opposed to.
And who do we have here for
As
move?
opposed to 9,857,431.
So do you want the amount of the reduction or just
It's
the?
106,120.
106,120 is the reduction.
Yeah.
You asked who moved, I think Phil moved
Phil moved
it,
and Bill seconded.
Oh, it's been, I made and Bill second?
It's like a one.
Phil
No,
actually
Phil
made,
and
you
Bill.
suggested.
You already wrote it down.
Oh, oh, that was the last one, not this one.
No,
No,
Last
this one was,
That-
Phil moved it and Bill seconded. The 106,120,
You know, I think it's the same thing we're discussing now.
correct.
All right, it's 9,7, anyway, 9,751,311.
5,1,
Yes.
311.
and that would become Article 2, I believe.
And that would be Article 2. And I will go around. Jen,
No,
Judy,
No,
Rich,
No,
Bill,
Yes.
Bill,
No.
Chris.
No,
All right, in here. Kate,
no.
Stacy,
No.
well, it's easier, I don't have to vote.
this is going to be a long night.
7 to.
All right, I'm at a loss of where to go from now. I offered my semi-compromise.
We're now arguing about $106,000.
Yep,
That's the issue here.
may I ask a question? How many meals do you sell from the cafeteria?
So I can answer that. I have that information, hold on, let me just find it. So, last year, we had a big increase in meals.
Mm-hmm.
We sold 16,059 to students and 862 to staff. The year before that, we sold 11,705 meals to students and 275 to staff. That was the
bad food.
That was, yeah, that was it, yeah. The year before that,
Frozen
we
fish.
sold,
I think I'm good,
oh, okay,
unless you need more.
yeah,
My
no, so,
suggestion was going to be, you were gonna raise the price by 50 cents.
Yeah.
What if you raise it by $1?
That was one of the.
That was
That was one of the things in the,
It was in there.
it shows up in the 3,100, in the receipt end of the budget rather than
Yeah,
in
but
the
that
appropriation
That
end.
could be, with that number of meals.
I proposed increase in the revenue
Yeah, I
side.
think that's already there,
Yes,
so
it is.
that's not gonna do it.
That's not gonna help?
Yeah, no, because we
Oh,
already
gosh.
added that to the revenue,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. I thought.
I thought it was only the 50% increase that is added.
You had a 50 cent and a dollar, one of them came in at
Yeah.
the 6 to 5 and one came in at the 5 to 4. on that.
Oh, you're right.
5% was
The
50
4
cents
point,
and
yeah,
4.88
yeah,
was.
got it. So the danger is
The 4.8 came out of 4.23 actually.
The danger is we don't know what the tipping point is. of
Right.
How much do
It's too
people wanna
expensive.
pay before they stop paying?
Right,
Stop buying lunch.
Where they start making PB&Js and sending it.
Right, but then
before
the
you
school
encourage
loses
brown
money 'cause
bagging.
they
Right.
planned on a
If-
certain amount.
If I can just add a little context to that, we have a fantastic Tuck student board fellow who did a presentation to the school board at our last meeting about the food service program and some recommendations she had. Her background is in economic consulting, so it was really great. She took some feedback from the board and is looking at ways to make that a more efficient, affordable process without losing the quality of the food, because it's so nice to see actual green broccoli as opposed to the kind of gray, and other things that are just better food. But yes, we are interested and have been looking at, and so to counter some of the comments earlier, I will say the board has looked very seriously at where can we find efficiencies. We are very grateful to have Mary Beth and Janet with a really keen eye on all of those things. And I will note again, and I think somebody already brought it up, Mary Beth is new to her role. She is getting a feel of what the district is looking at and where efficiencies can be gained. It would be very hard 6 months in, 5, how many months in?
We'll say, yeah.
We'll say 6. It would be very hard 6 months in to have a really accurate way of doing that and enact it. So, I will say, I think the board is taking very seriously, because we all pay taxes too, how to make this a more efficient budget. It's just here we are now, this is the budget that will sustain the school without adding anything new.
All right, Phil.
Suggestion. We're arguing about $100,000. It's symbolic at this point. It's not a real reduction. Why don't we split the difference? Why don't we take $50,000 off the request? Make the point that we're trying to restrain expenses, but we're trying to listen to the school, and we've made some kind of minimal reductions. Take it out of the food service budget if you want. That reflects at least some attempt to listen to the taxpayers who can't deal with the budget constantly rising.
So you would like to make a motion of 98,07431?
Yes. Right. And if we can't pass that, we have to just pass it, leave the school, the 4 point whatever it is.
So let's get that number. So we just by flat 50.
Flat 50 would be done.
And take it out of lunch?
Take it anyway.
Can we take it out of administration to make me feel better?
Which one do you want, school or SAU?
SAU.
All right,
Okay.
SAU minus 50K,
807.
that's the bigger number.
Okay.
What's the overall budget number now? I can't find the original
It's
number.
9807431.
9,
That's right.
no, 9535.
I know.
431.
Gotta subtract 50,000 from that.
Right, it's 50,000 from 85,000, that's 35,000, it doesn't get over the 100.
Have the program.
That's what we're talking about. Here's
Oh.
the last page of the budget. So it's 9857431.
Yes.
And you take 50,000 out, it's 980.
Oh, 431.
431. Just did it, you're correct.
All right, you got the number?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so it's what, 98,57,431 minus 50K?
Yes.
or-
That
I
was
think
the
Mark
motion.
might have a question.
So would you mind if I ask a quick question or state something?
Well, you can ask a question.
Yeah, well, actually, let
We
me,
need a second.
You need a sec, yeah, you need to get a second first.
Judy second, Bill move,
Yeah.
Phil move.
Phil
Phil,
did.
Phil, please.
All right, now,
As, if you, I missed the last minute, 'cause I was asking Janet a question to try to clarify, but my understanding, once you get to this point in time, if you decide you want to alter the MS 27 by $50,000, and you choose to use the food service place to do it, they cannot fix that. That's one of the areas where they would not, because that's a very small zone, and that would be whatever, 20% reduction in that area. That does not give them the ability to do the food service program they're
They
trying to
didn't
do.
we
Take it out.
moved it to taking it out of SAU
Okay,
administration.
okay, I just,
Oh.
great.
Thank you, I
Yeah.
learned something.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was having a discussion as you were moving that piece.
I'm not
Great.
sure that's,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's
Tracked it
right,
out.
it doesn't track, because once you get your budget, they can move those dollars pretty much.
I thought, Judy, that the bold line items, that essentially if you need to propose something that includes the bold line items.
All right, let's not argue in that detail because it's
It
irrelevant
may be
because we're not
moot
taking it
at this
out of that
point,
line.
but I would like to check that.
All right,
Call
I
the
have a
question.
motion on the floor and ready to go, and we will go down for the voice vote, or the roll call vote.
Motion
And it
for
starts out with
9.
Jen.
Now, are we voting on just a number?
We're voting on
The
a
nine
number.
We're not voting to take it from one place
Yes, we are, the
specifically?
50,000 is gonna come out
Of SAU administration.
But aren't there contracts?
Well,
But you know what, can I
They
ask a
can move it
question?
around all they want
It's
if
a
we
bottom
take it
line
out of
budget,
there.
we
It's a
ultimately
bottom line
decide,
budget.
except for
It's-
when there is.
There's no line that says SAU on the MS7.
Yes, there
It's
is.
part, no,
Yep.
not on the MS 27.
SAU administration,
2320.
2320.
All other administration, it says,
No.
on the MS1.
All right,
on the MS1 or the
I mean,
MS27?
MS whatever.
well, let's count
Is
2320.
there Janet?
There is SAU Management Services.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
But there's zero in that
But
line.
there's zero in there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, yeah, there's nothing.
Non-school business
You can
services.
Whatever
Yeah.
reflects the SAU administration line, which you have at 757,
Right.
515.
Yeah, it's on, under all other administration.
All right.
Yeah.
Right,
All
so that's
over.
the one we'd cut the $50,000.
Right, all right.
Allegedly.
So can somebody clarify, what we're voting on is to cut it specifically from that spot? We don't just vote on a number and let them decide where they're gonna have to cut it?
Well, we have to say where we would do it.
We do?
Recommend
I-
it, we would recommend
Okay.
it, but they get to decide.
Yeah, but I think.
But they can move it regardless of what our recommendation is. They cannot change the bottom line number. But how you get there, they can change.
Okay.
But I feel we have a duty to the taxpayers to tell them where we're cutting the budget.
Gotcha.
But normally you guys discuss this. It's all discussed ahead of time. You don't end up here at the last minute going, oh my God, this is our last hearing and we have to get this decided. So let's just take it out of the year. You don't normally do that.
It would be
What did you
unusual
get
to
for the
get to
bottom
this
line?
point
9?
and not have had a
No,
feeling of where the vote was gonna go.
50,000, 9,
Yeah.
8,
This is a
07,
unique
It may have been something
431.
that would be brought
All
up
right.
for public hearing,
You
for
write
example.
it down.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying.
Just take the zero out of that, take,
Marks that.
5 becomes a zero.
Hmm.
And this one, that we've talked about right now. There's your 50.
All right, I started taking the roll call vote, and then we
Okay,
had a
start-
clarification. Jen is no.
I'm a no.
Oh,
All right, Judy.
I'm a yes.
Rich.
I mean, no.
Phil.
I'm a yes. It's my motion.
Bill.
No,
Chris.
No,
Kate.
No.
Hey, God. Stacy.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna,
6 no's.
I'm gonna make a motion, the same one I made before.
5, 6, 7. I only have 7 votes. Who did I miss?
1, 2,
Okay.
3,
I've got
4, 5,
6
6,
no and
7.
2
I
yes.
have 8.
Yeah.
I have 8.
I understand.
Yeah, I don't vote because it's time.
I both had Ted, but there's 9 of you here.
I
That's
voted
correct.
yes,
I'm missing
and
somebody,
Phil voted yes.
so I'm
Everybody
asking.
else was a no.
Dick doesn't vote because we
Rich.
didn't tie, is that right?
No, Phil voted yes.
I voted no. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you very much.
There we go.
I think we, personally think we've spun our wheels. We're digging in. If we need the Korean Panmunjom folks here to solve this, we'll have a divided town. I think we need to go back to the original proposal from the school board and see if we can get that passed. And I would, if anyone cared to second that, I would make a motion, but if you all think it's
I will
stupid,
second it if you make the motion.
I will move.
I will second.
Thank you.
If I may I ask for a clarification of the motion? Your
Yes,
statement?
the motion is to vote on the school board presentation of
School board's recommended budget,
$9,857,431.
all right. Jen,
No,
Judy,
Yes,
Rich,
No.
Phil,
I'm gonna abstain.
yes, you can.
of course, I need a vote.
Yes.
Bill,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Brian's not here, Kate,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes.
it's 4-4,
No, it isn't,
No, it
it's
isn't.
4-3.
3.
it's 5-3.
You have 4 yeses and you
How
have.
did you get that, how did?
He's
Four-
abstained.
Because it's.
Oh,
it's
right,
abstained.
right. So it's 5-3, I don't have to vote.
It's 4-3.
4-3.
4.
Otherwise, we're here all night arguing about $50,000.
we're arguing about $50,000, so.
We're discussing civilly, but we're here all night.
Right, discussing
Well, we've been here for over an hour and we got back to where we started from before we had the first meeting on it. All right. Do I hear a motion to go home? Yes.
Second.
Is that the end?
I think so.
It's a complete waste of time. No, it's just like what you said about the zoning committee, right? It's the same thing. If you're gonna sit on it and be held responsible for overseeing something, it is a total waste of time.
Speaking of time, 8 o'clock,
Do you have 8 or 8:05?
8:03 I have.
Okay, 8:03.
I went to look at a house this weekend in Springfield, New Hampshire, and met
Thank you for all
physician
coming.
from
I'll
DH,
say it.
nurse
Thank you for
practitioner
coming
from
to this.
DH.
Yes, thank
No
you all.
one, the physician rents here in Lyme right now.
Sorry.
He says there's no way I have 5